Sure did.
This episode is brought to you by Cheryl's Underwear, because that's what's keeping us afloat.
That's our support system.
That's our camera support system.
Why, hello, sir.
Hello. Welcome to What's in the Box. This is a brand new podcast where all we do is talk in monotone voices and we don't really talk about anything.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the fucking box?
What is in the fucking box?
This is Cheryl, and that is Zach.
I am Zach.
And this is What
Cheryl.
is in the box.
And this is What's in the Box. Thank you for joining us today. So, as my... I can't. I wouldn't be able to do the whole thing like that.
No.
It would have been really funny if we would have got like halfway through it and people are like, what the fuck?
No. I can't watch this episode.
What the fuck?
Even if they have anything interesting to say at all, I'm not going to be able to watch it.
What the fuck are they talking about?
I'm asleep.
Anyway.
So I can start this one off today.
Sorry. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, because I tore my throat with a French fry. Thank you. It hurts.
You did tear your throat with a French fry.
Anyways, I can start this one off today because what is new with you, Zachary? What is new with you?
I quit my job too and didn't tell Cheryl.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I made the dramatic switch in my life to go back to third shift where I'm more comfortable and people like me.
And demote himself.
And demote myself. Yes.
For more pay.
For more, well, overtime more pay, yes.
You would call that overtime anyways.
Not
so
directly.
It's more pay.
Well,
it's more pay.
Not directly.
It is, though. It is. Because you work the same hours that you were working before. Yeah. And you're going to bring home more pay.
Yeah. For basically doing the same job. Because third shift is no different than what I'm doing. But yeah, did that. So that's cool. Yeah. So that was fun. That was a fun back and forth with
and he gets to start that
people.
Tuesday.
Yeah, on Tuesday, which will be after this.
Yeah.
Because this won't be until next week. So, yeah.
Last Tuesday.
In the past.
In today.
We're speaking from the future into the No,
we're in the present.
From the present into the
We're in the past speaking about the future?
Yeah, we're in the past speaking about the future.
I don't know. That's creepy.
Ooh. Anyway.
We're in the future talking about the past.
That will eventually be the present. No, it is the present.
You're present.
I'm a present.
You're my present.
Anyway. So yeah, that should be fun.
Fun.
I don't know. It's better. I feel. Me and you talked about it. I feel like it's a lot better. I think it's better for me. I think it's better for us.
I just think you didn't like the people on second shift.
I didn't like the whole thing of second shift. I didn't like not seeing anybody.
Well, I knew you weren't going to like the hours.
I didn't like not seeing.
I've been telling you that for years.
I didn't like the whole thing. And then I don't know how to explain this to people because even when I was talking about demoting myself and trying to explain it to the people that like were asking me, I don't know how to explain it. I'm just not made to be in that role. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm good at it, which is what everybody told me. Well, you're so good at it. You're so great at it. And yeah, I'm good at it, but that's not who I am.
Just because you're good at it doesn't mean it doesn't affect you in a certain way. Like I'm really good at like customer service type jobs. Like I'm really good at dealing with people and dealing with like customers specifically. But is it for me? No. And it's not because, but you're really good at it. Okay, but it's not easy. It's not something I want to keep doing.
Well, I'm
not saying that my job should be easy, but I'm just saying like it shouldn't take the kind of mental load that customer service takes on me. Like, I don't like people. I don't like having to be the peacemaker. I don't like confrontations. I have way too much anxiety for all this. It's a mask I have to wear to be that good at customer service, and I don't like wearing that mask.
Well, I've said, and I said this to my now supervisor, I sign papers. But I said this to her when me and her were talking about it, because she pretty much did an interview, but it was basically just us talking about why. And it's like I told her, and it's hard for me to really explain it to people that don't have it, that don't get it. But it's just not my personality. I'm not the person to be like, I know this policy's fucked up, but I gotta pep it up for the people and tell them that this is a good idea and get everybody on board. And,
yeah, and I can't tell them that I think it's fucked up, because then I'm going to have a whole group of people rallying,
and that's not
and that's going to be on me.
Yeah, and that's not who I am, nor is it who I've been. My personality, especially there, but especially in general, is more of like, no, fuck that place. Like, I'm like the worst promoter for my job, because I say that to people all the time, but in that role, that's how I felt. Like I had to go against everything that I truly feel and who I am to be in that role. And I am good at it. I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. I don't like having to do that every day. I don't like having to be that person every day. Whereas the job that I have now is kind of, I feel, is kind of the sweet spot of like, I still get to make decisions. I still get to, help out. I still get to do things, but I don't have to explain it. I don't have to deal with the uppers. I don't have to do any of that. I get the cushy spot of when somebody comes up to me and is like, my shit's fucked up. They fucked up on my pay or my vacation. I get to be like, go talk to your supervisor.
Yeah, that sucks.
Instead of continuously having to explain to people, I can't do anything about it.
Or they didn't mess that up. You didn't add up your hours correctly. This is what it's supposed to be. This is what you got, so it is correct.
You're just looking at it different. Everything is there.
Yeah.
And I don't have to deal with any of that. I just get to run a line. And plus
no, you don't have that many hours of vacation because you used them up in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain that when the whole time I've been a supervisor. I understand that people that you don't know until you know. But there are so many people that, like, because I'm a supervisor, just think that I have all this power. Like, yeah. I had somebody.
The supervisor is there to have no power.
I had somebody straight up tell me, like a couple months ago, actually, straight up tell me, well, I need to get paid more. And I was like,
what do you want me to do about that?
Well, no, the conversation was, they were like, I need to get paid more. And I was like, okay, why do you need to get paid more? And they're like, well, because I'm a relief and I help out in this area and this area. And I'm like, yeah, because you're a relief. That's the job, is to help out everywhere. It's to give relief to all areas. Well, I do more than any relief. And I told her, I was like, even if that were the case, and I would want to give you another dollar or what the fuck ever, because you go above and beyond, I was like, I can't do that. And she straight up looked at me with a serious face and was like, why can't you? Yeah, you can. You can just put it in, and I get paid more. And I'm like,
sure can't.
No,
I don't have that kind of authority.
That's not how that works. I literally have no authority to do anything.
This is what I've been saying, though, because at that same place, they wanted me to be a supervisor for so long, and I kept telling them no. And this is the exact reason why. Because that is customer service, basically. That's the same thing as if I was at McDonald's and somebody came up to me and was like, I want to speak to the manager. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And they were like, why are the cheeseburgers $2? This is fucking ridiculous. And I'm like, I don't get to make that decision. And they're like, yeah, you do. No, really, I don't.
Yeah.
It's a corporate thing. I don't really get to make that decision. Like, I can give you the owner's number, and he could tell you that he doesn't really get to make that decision really either.
And I think I know you're going to say this because you say this about everything when it comes to this job, but I know that I didn't fully understand that part of it when I took that job.
Yeah.
Because I was told, like everybody's told, always, is you just need to get to this position, and then you can start making changes. You can make a change, and the changes you can make as a supervisor at that aren't the changes. They're my kind of changes. They're not changes like I thought. It's not like policy. It's not like
No.
how things are arranged. It's more culture wise.
Well,
Like you
and
have
it's
you have the ability, which is what
it's also more so like where the labels get placed on the table.
Yeah.
Those kind of changes. You don't get to make actual like.
I don't get to tear down
real
all this
helpful
bullshit. Yeah, I don't get to tear down all this bullshit that's unhelpful because it would make things more efficient. Like I don't even get to make that suggestion really.
You can't decide to change a program in the computer because it's not effective.
Yeah.
Or decide that we don't have to use that program anymore because it's not effective.
But
you just get to choose like, oh well, my operators can put their labels on the desk
instead of
out in the hallway. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
but also I think that, and I've had this conversation with you and a couple people. I think that starting out when I went into the supervisor role, I got that speech and I was like, great, because that's since I started in this company, that's what I've always wanted to do, because I've seen supervisor after supervisor after supervisor not do anything.
Yeah.
And I've been in every single role from the bottom, like, and you're all like, the way.
How come no one's like?
And I'm like, why isn't all you people sit and here?
You've seen people go into that role that you were like, oh, this person's gonna be great. They're gonna make all these changes. They're gonna do what they said they're gonna do, and then they're not. And you're like, what the fuck? Why aren't you doing what you should be doing? Like,
yeah. And then they always, because I've been friends with people in that, they've always talked shit too of like, well, I would, but, and then they'd be like sitting in the office or like doing stuff. And I'm like,
but what?
Yeah. And so like in my head, going through all these these steps to get to being a supervisor, I'm like, they just don't want to.
Well, it's not
because like, why would you, in my head, like, why would you talk shit about it and then sit in the office? Like, if you really want to make it, why aren't you out there doing it? You know what I mean?
Whereas because I went to that new warehouse, I got to see firsthand
what
how
you can and
little
can't.
amount of anything anyone has. Like, it was just like, oh, okay.
And then when I got into that supervisor role, I figured out, because that was the speech that I got from multiple people, was, well, once you get to this position, you'll have the ability to start making changes. And I went into that thinking that I went
specify what changes.
Well, and that's what I was getting at, is that I went into that thinking, okay, once I get here, I can just call somebody up and be like, this is a bad example, but like, I need a new machine. And they'd be like, yeah, let me see if that's in the budget. It'll be there next month. Like,
or we can't do that till next year, but we'll have it on the thing.
Yeah, like I thought that's so. Like I went into that being like, great, I'm in this position, and I even took less money than I should have to get into that position, because I was like, I just need to get here. The whole time I've been working at this company, that's always been my mindset of, I just need to get here. Once I'm here,
yeah, and the whole time his wife is like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Once I'm here, I can do that. And I learned within the first year, pretty quicker than most supervisors, that that's not the case. But the changes that you can make, and the changes that I'm really good at, and why I feel like everybody says I'm very good at this job, is because once I realized I couldn't do that, I realized that the only changes I personally can really make is the culture in which my people are around.
Yeah.
And that's the change that I physically can make. I can't get
physically working your ass off to make sure that your people know that they have your support.
Yep. I can't give you new machines. I can't give you a better maintenance crew. I can't give you any of these. I can't
give you more people.
I can't give you this. But what I can give you is 6 years of experience in every single area you need help with.
Yeah.
And I can learn to do the ones that I don't know.
I can teach you things. I can help you with things.
I can be there. Yeah. I can do these things for you. So yeah,
which is a team lead job.
So yeah, I can't get a new piece of machinery, but I can be out there and help label packages. I can be out there with maintenance and learn what you can't because you're running your line, and tell you later. I can do all the things that it's kind of like subbing that part of it for knowledge.
Yeah.
I can't give you new machines, but I can give you the knowledge I have about these machines.
Yeah.
And the same with every other area. I can't sit here and case pack for you for 8 hours straight, but I can show you how to make it more efficient to the point that you don't have to be out there.
The funny thing about this is, with more team leads like you, there is not going to be a need for as many facilitators.
That's a
And
talk.
they are going to end up transferring like Johnsonville. It is going to end up being like Johnsonville's warehouse, where it's like one supervisor per shift and team leads for each area.
Yep. But that was
But
anyway.
they have to get team leads like you for that to be effective.
But anyway, but that was the conversation that I had, was that I have been because that is the type of person that I am, and I've always been that person. And when I was a team lead, I was really good at it because of that. For that reason, I like being out there. I like using my knowledge. I like operating because I have all of these. Now I have even more, but because I had all of this experience, I was able to float anywhere, and it was great for me because I could still make the decisions, but I didn't have to do the extra shit. I didn't have to do the paperwork. I didn't have to do the meetings. I didn't have to do any of this other shit that took me
away from the line.
Away from that, or out of the headspace of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if you have people know this, if you have a shitty meeting, like, let's say, like, you're in the zone, you're helping people, everybody's doing this or whatever, and then you got a meeting, and you have a meeting where you get yelled at by 7 different uppers. You're not going to go back in that room with the same energy, with the same headspace. It's not going to happen. Yeah. And so, like, without that, I put that, I never had that as a team lead. And so I was constantly and it was a lot of fun for me. And then once I became a supervisor, I was good I was very good and am very good on the culture side of it, of being there for people, keeping people in a good mood, making people want to come to work.
But you can do that as a team lead.
That. But with all the extra shit, it just took away from me, from like how I felt about it. It wasn't fun for me anymore. I said that
you're supposed to be trying to help these people have a good time at work, and yet you're not having a good time.
Yeah, and I told you that before I even went to second shift. I was like, it's not fun for me anymore.
Yeah,
it was fun, and I think most of it, and I said this to her too, I think most of it was just an achievement thing for me, and to kind of see what it was.
Yeah.
And I did all the things that I wanted to do. I took 2 lines that were shitty and made them great. I took the culture of those 2 lines where nobody wanted to be there and made them want to come to work and know that they could do it. I made numbers still that were better than anybody that had ever done it on both of those shifts in those areas.
Yeah.
Like I did those things, and then it wasn't fun for me anymore. Yeah. I was just like, okay. And I know that this is and I even said this, I posted this video because legitimately how I feel about that situation, but like, it just got too easy for me. And it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it was like I was operating, and I told you this, and it's part of why I got tired, and that's why I got burnt out, is because I was operating at a level that was so high all the time. And I was doing great, but I was operating at a level so high that was far above any supervisor on my shift that was doing anything. And I was just like, this is easy for me. Why are you guys struggling so much? Why am I able to do this? And none of you guys are even like trying to be like striving for this. And it got to a point where I was like, why am I striving? Why am I up here?
Yeah, when I don't have to, clearly. Like, clearly this isn't a thing that we have to do, because everybody else is still getting good reviews and they're not doing it.
Yeah, so. I got somebody that barely puts in any effort and runs shitty numbers and is still getting a good review, while I'm like stressed out.
Getting the shittiest review, and you're doing everything possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just became not fun anymore. And I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna, and I told this to my supervisor when we talked about it. I was like, I came to a point where I was like, you know what? If I have to work here, because I do, then I want to do something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And the 2 things that I really enjoyed out of everything I've done in that company, the 2 things I really enjoyed were operating and being a team lead. I truly enjoyed both of those.
Yeah.
They really made me happy. And so that's what I told her. I was like, I want to demote myself because I don't want to do this anymore. And we had that whole conversation. And I'm like, these are my two options. I was like, either one of these. I was like, if you can't, and I even told her, I was like, if you can't do this, then I'm going to have to I'll figure something else out. I'll figure out to get another job or whatever. But
yeah,
I cannot do this job here anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do it anymore. And it's going to get even worse the longer I don't want to do it. And then, yeah, there was a back and forth with HR, which was frustrating. But yeah,
I had many reasons to leave that job, but even because I did get to go back into the position that I liked and I loved, but even in that position, that company still just beats you down. So it's just it's like, you know what? Never mind. Especially review time. Review time is the worst time in that company because they don't review you or base you off of what you're doing. They review you and base you off of what they think you could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how is that fair? I'm already doing 10 times more than anybody else on this fucking shift, let alone this goddamn warehouse. But because you've seen me go 10% more than that at like one period of time over the last 3 years, now I get a bad review?
Well, I told you,
like, what the fuck?
I told you this about we talked about your reviews before that.
Yeah.
About how it was based on you and not everybody in that position. But I told you this. I gathered data for an entire year. Like, factual data you can look up on their systems that they have.
Yeah.
For an entire year as a supervisor. And I put that in my review. And the only thing I got more, because I put exceeds expectations, because my number showed exceeds expectations.
Yeah.
Retention was down. Profit for that line, for both lines, were up on 2 different shifts. All of those numbers were in my review. And I think I got 1 point above meets expectations. And I'm like, and I even said that. I was like,
yeah.
So I have all this data that's not just hearsay. It's not just, and that's what I said. I was like, it's not hearsay. You can go look it up. You can go, it's all fact. I did it all. I saved it all.
Yeah.
And that's not worth, that's not even worth more.
I know. Well, and that's the thing. Based off of the 3 things they grade you on as far as, like, the lower side of things, the only one I should have gotten anything under meets or exceeds should have been the attendance. And rightfully so, okay? And I knew that going into it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get shit on attendance. But it was the other stuff that I was like, how? How am I not meeting or exceeding expectations? Like, if you would have, it's again back to like data. Period. You're literally just going this. You're doing this all biased because if you were going off of actual like data and actually like what I do on a daily basis and what I've been doing, you would see that I do changeovers faster than anyone else in the fucking warehouse. I don't need maintenance to come and do my machines as often as other operators. You know what I mean? Like, I troubleshoot things faster than most people in the fucking warehouse.
Well,
not only that, but I had been called to other lines multiple times during that year to go help out other lines, and I did successfully help out those other lines, or at least give ideas as to what could be the problem. Not only that, but how many times did I get sent to other lines because someone called in to go give out breaks, to go do whatever because someone else called in? Like, there was only 2 of us that ever gave out breaks to everybody, and that was me and Ross.
Mm-hmm.
So why was it that me and Ross's reviews weren't exceeds expectations for everything? Because we did.
Mm-hmm.
Any other operator, you could have given whatever, and that'd be understandable. But me and Ross? Like, I'm sure Ross got exceeds expectations, but I'm just saying, like, what the fuck? Like, but why? Because you've seen me do more before? Okay.
Or because I speak up for the fact that it's bullshit that only 2 people are doing it and nobody else does.
I didn't even do that year, remember?
No, that was the end you did.
That year was the year that I kept my head down, didn't bitch, didn't do anything over the top, didn't go and be like, I don't know why your facilitator's doing this. I don't know why this operator's doing that. Like, I was just like, I just kept my head down, kept quiet, did my fucking job, and I still got a shitty fucking review. And it was like, okay, so what do you want out of me?
Well, and this is kind of, I've talked to people about this, and I understand. I'm grateful for this, and I'm not in some ways with this company. Me and you have had, well, you're not there, but me and you had been there for so long that most people forgot things, which is good for me because most people forget all the bad things that have to do with me. So that's good for me. But also, there are things that I wish people didn't forget. Like the fact that our Johnsonville changeover is set based on your changeover speed.
My changeover speed.
Not
do 2 machines. And I keep telling
yours,
them that.
Not yours, like combined with, not like Cheryl did it in 45, Bill did it in 45, and this person did it in an hour and a half. So we're going to average and it's going to be 40. It was solely based on yours. Specific 100% your changeover speed.
But it's not, because the Johnsonville tooling change now has that extra hour bullshit.
Well, it's not anymore, but it was.
Which is absolute bullshit, because if there's 2 operators in the room, they should be able to do it in under 45 minutes.
We did it.
I did it.
No, I'm saying like...
No, I know, but I'm just saying I did it in 45 minutes for both machines. I did it by myself. I didn't have a partner. I did both machines and covered everything for the wash in 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That is ridiculously fast. And yeah, I was out of breath. Like, yeah, nobody should have to do it that fast.
And she didn't do it every single time.
No, because that's crazy. I did it that one time because it was the end of the month and we needed to get our numbers up, and I understood that, and I was like, you know what, I can do this for you.
Mm-hmm.
And my facilitator at the time understood that this is not something that I could continuously do because it exerts an exceptional amount of energy, and I could end up hurting myself. And that's the difference between like that facilitator who would give me good reviews because I would go above and beyond sometimes, and then sometimes I wouldn't, and he knew and he understood that it's not something that I can do all the time, that I am a human being and not a fucking robot.
Well, I think that...
Whereas every other person I've ever had as a facilitator or leadership didn't understand that. They didn't understand why I couldn't go above and beyond every fucking day.
And me and him have talked about that, and that's kind of... Me and you have talked about that too. That's kind of where I went as a supervisor. Because there were times that he would push and push because he wanted the numbers.
Well, yeah, but it's his job to push.
But also, like I did when I went to second shift, he also would do things like I did.
Yeah.
Where he would frustrate the people just to see what you had. Yeah. Like when I went to second shift, I did that because they were steady doing 4-hour changeovers that were supposed to be an hour or an hour.
Oh yeah, they were totally comfortable.
And so my first 2 weeks, I told them
because they never had anyone in there telling them they.
And I told them ahead of time. I was like, I'm starting it the moment that they get released. So you only have 30 minutes to get these machines up and running. And it was close. Granted, they almost didn't make it. If I wasn't out there, they wouldn't have made it. But they did it.
But they understood and they tried harder.
And they did it and they got it done. And we didn't have to shut anything down. We didn't have product that went bad or anything like that.
That was the best part.
It. And it's not like the next time we had a changeover, I was like, well, you guys did it, so
that's the best part about having good leadership that trusts you and you trust them, is that like if.
And now everybody said that when I left.
Yeah.
Is that they appreciated that I never let them fail.
Yeah, like if you guys trust each other, which is what you need, especially with like your operators, you know, the higher up people in your team, you guys need to be able to trust each other. Like if I don't trust my facilitator to do me right as far as like starting up before I'm ready, then how I'm just, you know, clearly he doesn't trust me. Like, you know what I mean? He didn't even trust me to ask me if I'm ready, or she, or whatever. Like, they didn't even trust me to know how much time I needed or if I was going to be ready in time. Like, they're just like, well, we're just going to start, and they got to figure it out. Like, no, come talk to me. Because, like, 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to tell you to go ahead and start early. because I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that 10th time, it's probably a more difficult changeover, and I'm going to need that extra time.
And there's a reason. It's not like
and you're going to get screwed if you start early because
it's not like I'm doing it
product.
just because I want to sit out here for an extra 30 minutes. Like, if I tell you no, then there's a reason I'm telling you no.
Yeah. And it took a lot of fighting with my last facilitator to finally get to that point, but eventually we did get to that point. But it took so much to get them to understand, like, if you communicate with me, I can make your job better. Like, I literally can make or break you.
It was one of me and you have talked about this, and I've given you credit 10 times over with everybody in that company. But even though me and you have fought about where my talents come from as far as being an operator, but
I didn't teach you anything. I taught you how to change roles.
I know, but I credit you because it was, and not just you specifically, but I've said this to a lot of people. It was a different time, and there's a point to me bringing this up. But I want to bring this up before that. At that time, that you were an operator, that I was coming up to being an operator. At that time, there was such a freedom of information.
Yeah,
and it was the best. I tell operators this all the time, and I will continue to tell operators this because most now
it's
that are in that company don't get
operators love each other.
Yeah, most operators now they can't get it through their head. It's a selfish thought process.
Because I don't like them.
But that was the best time for all of us because we were all helping each other. We were all feeding each other.
The different shifts, the different lines.
Yeah, it went all the way through. It went not only through first, second, and third shift, but all the other lines too. Yeah. It was a continuous, hey, I know that you're on a rope line and I'm on a link line, but I learned this thing the other day. So if you ever come over here, and it was just such a freedom of information. And especially obviously with the two of us being together, we also had that outside of work too of hey, this happened to me. Hey, this.
Well, and I also feel like that time period. I feel like in that time period, one of the reasons why it did that though was because a lot of us were doing so much overtime. A lot of us operators were, so we were working with each other, not just talking wise, but physically too. That's around the same time that I was doing all those 12s to pay for our wedding, and I would be there for 4 hours through second shift, which is the shift that everyone fucking hates. So it was I actually got to know these operators and understand that they're not bad operators. They're just kind of lazy.
Or they just don't have the information.
They just don't have the information, yeah. And it wasn't just me though. Ross was doing a bunch of overtime at that time. I think someone else too. I can't remember. But
just wanted to see.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
But I think
I don't have a clock.
It made the difference for sure.
But because of that, and it built all of us, which is what annoyed. And I've talked to other operators about this since then. It's what annoyed me about after that time was over.
Yeah,
is because then that stopped, and then people wanted to complain about, well, why isn't this operator doing good? Well, why isn't this operator getting training? Well, why isn't this? But nobody shared it, and we tried.
Well, also because they kept pushing shitty people on us and telling us that we have to train them. And
make them like you.
And when we would tell them, okay, this person isn't going to make it, they were like, well, make them make it. I can't make them make it. If they don't want to listen to me, if they don't want to hear what I'm fucking saying when I'm training them, they're not going to hear what I'm saying. It's end of conversation. It's like that one partner I had. I taught her how to fucking calibrate the registration sensor every fucking day for a whole year span. Why? Nobody takes that long to learn anything. Nobody. So it had nothing to do with she couldn't learn it, and everything to do with the fact that she didn't want to learn it. Because if she wanted to learn it, she would have learned it in the first couple of times I told her. Because it's not a difficult thing. It's a button. You push a button.
Well, and the thing that, and I still say this now, I say this with a lot of other things, not with me being an operator, but I said it as an operator too. And I've said it to you because I've heard people say it, if not to you, about you, is like, well, just make them like you. We'll just show them how to be like you. That's not how that works.
Yeah, I can't make them like me. They're not
It
me.
takes, and I've said that.
I can teach them what I know, but if they don't want to utilize it, that's on them.
Well, and I've said this many times to people. It took a lot of things for me to be me. It took a lot of things for you to be you. It took a lot of...
And by the time I was training people too, I didn't have that passion anymore for the company that I had before.
Well,
and so it's hard to give that to someone else when you don't fucking have it anymore.
It was the same way I felt when I was a relief, when I was stuck being a relief because I wasn't allowed to do anything.
Part of a good operator is having the passion to make things keep running for the company. And if you don't have that passion for the company anymore, how am I supposed to teach someone else to have that passion for the company anymore?
Also,
the only reason why I kept doing my job as well as I did was because I had the passion for the actual job itself. I had the passion for the machine. Which nobody else coming into that job firsthand is going to give a shit about that. That doesn't make any sense to them. That doesn't...
Well, that's what I've said to people in the hiring process for operators, because everybody wants to be so quick. And I think this is part of the reason why being a supervisor bothers me so much, is because I go to all these meetings and everybody wants a fix and wants a reason and wants why isn't this, and then when you tell them stuff like this, they're like, no, that can't be it. But like, you need, granted, there are anomalies. There are people that...
for sure.
There are people that have no mechanical skills that just, for some reason, it just clicks in their head when they...
Sure.
Very, very few. But when you're hiring operators, you need somebody that wants to learn how the machines work, not to make them run, because it's two completely different things.
Yeah.
People that just want to make them run are going to do the bare minimum to keep them running. People who want to learn how it works, those are the people that are going to be able to fix things. Those are the people that are going to be able to tell you that there's a knife issue, a bladder issue, a heat issue before maintenance gets out there. Like, those type of people are who you need being your operators, because those are the people that are continuously going to keep learning about the machine they're running.
Yeah, for sure.
And they don't, and which is one of the things I got from you and Bill when I started being an operator, is there's a thing that both you and Bill said to me, is listening to the machine.
Yeah.
When you get so good at your job that you hear it before you see it.
You can take that almost into any physical labor job, like any labor job, really. Like, I don't know, I've never really worked in like office spaces, so I'm sure there's probably nothing like this there. But like, even in restaurants,
you can hear the phone go off.
Well, yeah, but like, even in restaurants or in like fast food work, or like, if you learn the sounds of things, you can work better. Like, use all your senses. Let them help you. Like, it does help. Like, you're gonna make your job so much easier.
Well, it was one of the best
if you allow your other senses to help you perform your job.
It was one of the best advices I've ever gotten as far as operating from the both of you, is because it makes it easier, because it's not just about damage. It's not just about hearing the fucking plastic crumple because it's at the seal plate. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just about like big things. It helps out with other things.
Yeah.
Like, if you're, and I tell it to I just, like, last month said it to one of my operators because I heard it, which has been a while. But like, when you hear the knife wiggle, when it goes up and down, that's not really, it can be an issue,
or you hear
it
drop later than the other ones.
It's not really an issue to the point where it's not going to cut the package, or it's going to, but it can.
But it's going out.
Yeah, but it can cause a problem later down the line.
It's something that you're going to have to watch.
And if you can hear that ahead of time, then either you can have the time to just switch out the knife,
fix it then.
Or you have that already ahead of time, and you can be like, "Oh, I have 2 minutes. I can."
Or do this. When a jam does happen, you're like,
"I know why.
I know what the problem is."
Yeah.
Or I have a general idea at least. what probably is the problem.
And it's one of my advice that I give to operators, where I tell them that I'm like, you need to listen. You need to learn how you're, because
not only listen, but also like, and this was something I would teach every operator too, is like when maintenance comes out and fixes something, pay attention, watch, because like here's a good example of like a time that I was able to be like, oh, this is the problem, because of another time that I was like, oh, that's what happened. Was when I worked on 2, one of the machines started, the back of it, the lift would go thudunk, and the whole machine would shake, and it would, every time it would run a cycle, it would do that. It'd go thudunk, and the whole machine would shake, and I was like, what the fuck? And I thought maybe it was getting stuck on something. There wasn't enough grease on the arms or something. And then this maintenance guy comes out, and he just he looks at the machine. He goes, "Oh, it's just off balance." And he twists one of the legs so it's balanced straight, and all of a sudden the machine's working just fine. Well, fast forward to a few years later, or a lot more than a few years later, I'm back in the warehouse as an operator again.
Just did it on Tuesday.
I'm back in the warehouse as an operator again, and I go to that line to go work for the night or give break or something, and the machine is doing it, and I just go over there and twist the leg, and it stops, and the girl was like, "What? What'd you do?" And I was like, "The leg is short. It gets unscrewed and it gets short, and so the machine." And then it happened on my line too, where it happened on one of the legs that were near the actual tower part of the machine. So every time I run a cycle, the whole machine was like, "Wow!" And I fixed it, and my partner was like, "Oh, I've been noticing it was doing that lately. I just didn't know what was wrong with it." And it's like, yeah, so it's, and learn from each other too. Like those 2 operators learned from me fixing it. They were like, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And I explained it to them, and now they know how to do it, instead of just being like, "Oh, that's great, she fixed it," and then walking off. Which I have had partners, or I have had other operators who have done that. They're like, they don't ask how I fixed it. They don't care to know. Even if I'm like, "Hey, do you want to know how I fixed that?" They're like, "No, it's okay." Like, okay.
It's just super.
Just make your job easier.
It's just super helpful, and I tell you this all the time. It's frustrating at times, but it's also very helpful.
Yeah.
Because it's nice when you're in a situation like that. It sucks when you have so much information that you have to sit,
not harder.
That you have to sit there for 5 minutes while something's happening and be like, "Well, okay, I did this, this person did this."
And that's where sometimes you can give maintenance a pass, though, because you understand, like, just because there's something wrong with this air hose or this box doesn't mean it's automatically this one thing. You're like, "Oh shit, there's like 20 things that could be wrong because this is happening."
That is my favorite thing to tell people, especially supervisors when I was an operator, is when they were like, "Well, what do you think is wrong?" And I'm like,
"It could be this,
there's so many things. There's so many things."
Yeah, you always do that, and they just look at you funny, and I always go the other way about it. I'm like, "Well, it could be this, or it could be this because of this, or it could be this," and then they're usually just looking at me like, "Oh, never mind, go ahead." Like, go ahead and work, because they realize that I'm wasting more time by trying to explain to them the 50 things it could possibly be.
No, I get it.
Because I hate when people ask me, like, how long is it going to take? What's wrong?
I don't like that question.
I don't know yet. I haven't even gotten down to, like, one possible, like, answer yet. Can you just give me, 20 minutes?
I started doing it with my supervisor. I started doing it with her when I was her operator, because she would do that all the time. Because she was very focused on how her line looked good.
Times and knowledge.
But I used to do that. I used to do that all the time, because she would be like, "Well, what's wrong with it?" And I'm like, "It could be like 6 different things." And she would be like, "Well, what do you think?" I was like, this is how this part of the machine works." And I would be like, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And she would be like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Yeah, so just give me a minute."
Yeah. I gotta rule out some of these.
Yeah, but like I said, though, it's nice to have all that information, like I had said before, that all of us had collected over the years with each other. It's nice having that, because you're able to get deeper into it instead of just like a Band-Aid fix.
Yeah.
Like most operators do, where they have seen the same fix Band-Aid fix over and over again that they go, oh, we'll just do this. Yeah. And it'll make it run. Oh, we'll just do this and make it run.
Well,
when you have all that information, you're able to be like, I know that the last time I just turned the temps up for this, but if we change the fuse, I won't have to do that.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier all the way around, other than the next day. Or if I change
the noodle gasket so the air stops pulling, then it'll
the next day you have to come in and do the same Band-Aid fix and the same Band-Aid fix and the same. Having that knowledge makes that a lot easier because you can. It sucks because you need the time to kind of cut things out,
and that's what sucks. But that's what I always hated about it, because if I was like, well, it could be the gasket or the O-ring or the noodle gasket, they were like, well, why don't you just change those 3 things? Okay, that's good in like
theory,
but then now if it happens again, I have to keep changing these 3 things, which these 3 things aren't cheap. Like, yeah, O-rings are probably pretty cheap, but noodle gaskets and gaskets are not cheap. So like, every few weeks I'm changing all 3 of these out, when it could be even a more major issue, and these 3 things are just bandaging it or just making it seem better for now.
But I always
like, there might be a gasket in the actual pump itself, and because I'm making it
there might be
tighter,
a gasket stuck in your pump that you didn't know about.
Oh, I knew about it. I watched it get sucked in. It was like, I was like, oh.
Was it you that told me I didn't tell them? You're like, this is probably what happened, but I'm not going to tell anybody that that's what happened.
Yeah. Because I turned the seal pump off, which I was always told that's what you do when you open that pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to open the pipe, and the seal or the gasket around the pipe just goes, and I'm like,
oh.
Well, I don't know if that's a bad thing. And then I went to maintenance and was like, I need a new pipe gasket. And they were like, what happened to the old one? I was like, I don't know. I lost it. And they were like, oh, okay. They didn't ask any more questions. They were like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay. It came out.
Eventually.
In pieces.
Anyway, but I said that, getting back to the reason why
the steel pump was okay.
The reason why I brought that up is to go back to what we were talking about before, about your people, like, trusting you. Mm-hmm. Is that with all of that knowledge, and this is where I feel like I have had, and where you had an advantage in being in leadership too, is that I can push people and also not let them fail. I'm good enough at my job. Because I know
they can do it, but I also know that if they're struggling, I can
do it. Yeah. To where, and with both of the teams that I've had, they both knew that. So they didn't. That was one of the things that when I was on second shift.
When I say I know they can do it, I don't mean like I know for sure this person because I've seen them do it before can do it. I mean, like, I know it can be physically done.
Yeah.
By a human being.
And that's like. And that's kind of why you test it every now and then.
Yeah, you're like, what is this person's abilities and strengths?
Yeah, and that's what I did, is that I was testing it to see, okay, what do I have to work with? Where's their wiggle room? But with both the teams I've had, I feel like that's helped with both of them because they know I can do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they try to do it, because they also know that I'm not going to accept them being lazy either.
Yeah. Well, and it's also a difference at the end where you're like, okay, I understand I had to jump in this time to help you guys, but I cannot keep jumping in. You guys have to figure this out. One of these days I will not be able to jump in, and you are going to be on your own on this. Mm-hmm. And that was the difference between, like, because I've had people be like, well, I can't stop helping them. I can't stop helping. And I'm like, yeah, you can. Mm-hmm. You have to stop helping them. At some point, you have to stop helping them.
And that's one of the things that
otherwise they're going to expect you to keep helping them.
I keep telling people, I don't know how, I'm sure you can tell me, you don't need to, but I don't know how I do it. I really don't, because I feel like I don't do anything as a supervisor. I don't feel like I do anything to make a team better or not. I personally don't feel like I do anything. But every team I've had, either team lead or supervisor, has been self-sufficient, has become, if they weren't before that, self-sufficient.
It's because you make it, and I told you this before from working with you in case pack, and it's not any different from you as like a facilitator or leadership. You you have a way of driving people. You have a way of being like, I'm here to help you, but I'm also pushing you to do it yourself. Like, you don't, when you go to help someone, you're not standing on the line. Like, okay, it's just like when we were in case pack together and I was drowning in like the sausage, like the packages. I was drowning in sausages.
Yeah, she was.
And you would come over and pack like 2 boxes and then walk away. You helped me, but you also didn't
do it for you.
Help me. Mm-hmm. Like, I was still panicking after you left. I was still like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. But I knew that I wasn't going to drown. Mm-hmm. I knew that if it really became a problem, but it also gave me that drive to be better.
To not want me to come over to help you?
Because you made it like a game almost. Mm-hmm. You made it like a challenge.
Especially back then. I did it on purpose.
Yeah, you made it like a challenge of like, I can do this, why can't you, kind of thing. And you kind of have that in you as a leadership too. Like, I can do this just fine, so why can't you? And it also does drive people when they see their leadership being able to do something they have to do daily. Because we've been there. You lose utter respect for your uppers when they come to sit on the line with you to help out or to pack with you, and they're like, "Oh, I really suck at this." Like,
that's like one of my biggest.
Like,
okay,
then go away.
That is one of my biggest pet peeves, other than supervisors coming out there, is coming out there to make that specific joke because it's not funny. I'm sorry, any fucking leader that thinks that that's a funny joke to say to people on the line,
I'm out here 8 hours every day, is stress as hell. And you come out here
like
with your non-creased shoes, all pretty and shined up. Oh, wow, this is really hard. Like, bro.
Yeah, no shit. I know.
It's not even going full speed right now. Go away.
That's why I'm sweating.
This is why I am constantly stressed and have acid reflux all the time. But it's okay. Just go back to your ivory tower, sir, and go polish the dirt off your shoes that you just gained.
I do give credit. Not much, because I hate, like I said, I hate that. It's not funny. It's not, I hate that fucking statement. But I do give credit to people that spend longer than 5 minutes out there.
Yeah, if you're out there and you're actually helping, that's different.
Yeah, I do give credit to people that are out there for like a half hour and letting shit go all the way back and like trying to keep up, and like, I do give credit there. But those people that do it just to show that they're with the people, it's not funny.
No, it's not.
Nobody
and there's a difference between coming out there and actually trying to help. And even if you can't help in that way, helping in other ways. Mm-hmm. Picking up the floor for us, that's a big one. That's the one that always got me. Like, if anyone in leadership just came in and in any area I ever worked and just picked up the floor for me, man, that was so fucking helpful. Because that was one floor pickup I didn't have to fucking do. Mm-hmm. I could focus on continuing to work on the line, or I could focus on continuing to do my other job instead of having to go over there and pick up the floor again for the 100th time that night. Like, and I know it seems silly, but it is a big deal. Mm-hmm. It is a big deal. And if you come over and you're like, oh no, I can't pack, and you're making a mess, that's not helpful. I already have a mess. Mm-hmm. I already have a lot of messes. You know, if you want to come over and open a few packages for me, oh man, great. You want to type some numbers in the computer for me? Woo, yeah. You know, pick up the floor, take out the garbage, whatever, but don't make it more of a mess. If you can't pack,
don't do it.
You can help in other ways.
Yeah.
You can come do the job in other ways. Like, I don't respect you for coming out and trying to do something you know you can't do and making a fucking mess.
I think me and you have talked about this, and I try not to. It's a big thing for me. I tell people this all the time. It's one of my biggest pet peeves, and I'm glad that I haven't lost it with how long I've been in leadership now, is that everybody forgets where they came from. And that I feel like that helps me. Me and you have talked about that. I think that helps me a lot with that position, is because I don't forget, you know, the 3-minute smoke breaks that I had because I wasn't able to leave the line long enough take an actual
You don't
break.
forget having to hit the e-stop because no one was coming out to help you do anything.
Yeah, because my facilitator said, wait, give me a minute, and it was 20 more minutes and we had no help, so I hit the e-stop. Yeah. Yeah, like things like that. I don't forget. I have never forgot, which is like, and me and you have talked about this, which is why like I'm really glad that I got this tattoo. Not only because it was an achievement thing for me at that time, but also like I don't forget it. And I think that that helps me because it bothers me when people do. Because it bothers me when people spend time complaining and being like, I hate supervisors like this. I hate supervisors like this. I hate that they never do this. And then they get in the supervisor positions and do the exact same thing or become the same people that they hated the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that bothers the shit out of me.
And
or
I'm
people that look back, that get into that position and be like, I don't understand why they're complaining about this. Dude, you complained about it 2 years ago when you were in that position.
You were
for the
just
same
the
reason.
same one. You were just the person complaining about it.
And and that's kind of why being a team lead I really like, is because I'm able to still be in those positions. I'm still able to do those jobs. I'm still able to continuously keep that. And I like that. I like not forgetting that part. And I feel like it helped. I don't know.
Well, it's like the facilitator or the supervisor you were telling me about over at Hager. The one that, the guy who came over who was telling you that one of his supervisors doesn't do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
She was my case packer.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the biggest one to bitch about us being in the office.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one that bitched the most, even though I was out there helping them all the fucking time. And she was constantly bitching about being understaffed, which they weren't. They were constantly overstaffed. Mm-hmm. And she was the one that was constantly bitching about no one was helping them, and that the supervisor was always in the office, which at that time he had to be because he was doing fucking paperwork and computer work for both the line and blending. And now she's the one who literally doesn't leave the office for anything at all. And I'm just like,
and
it's because it's not because they want the help or because they expect. It's not like we were when we complained about it. Like, it's not because they want the help for the greater good of everyone. It's because they're jealous that they're not sitting in the office doing nothing. And so now that they are in the position, now they're not jealous anymore because they get to do it. And now they use that as an excuse. Well, when I was on the line, this is what my supervisor did. Okay, but you also bitched about it. Like, it's like bitching about who the president is, but not doing anything to, like, make a difference. I know we've talked about that, but I'm just saying, like, you can make a difference, just not with the vote that everyone thinks you can make a difference with.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've said this. I just think most people need to, except for the people that get hired straight on in those positions, then you have no frame of reference. You've never done it, so whatever. But at least all the supervisors I know have started out in those positions. And I never understood. Like I said, I'm really glad that I still have that in me, because I think it helps me out and it helps the team out a lot as a whole. But I can't get over the people that come from that and then get into those positions and it's like, well, that's not my job anymore. What? That's literally your job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, well, I just can't keep doing that for them. Okay,
but then you should be showing them how, and that's where you fucked up as leadership and not them are fucking up. Because you should be showing them how to do it independently instead of depending on you to do it.
To do it for them.
So when you go and help, you're not helping, you're just doing it. That's the difference.
But going back to the point that I said earlier, is that when I had planned on leaving, I had planned on going back and demoting myself in that conversation. What are you looking at?
Oh, no, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Sorry, there's something in that box and I don't know what it is and it keeps confusing me.
Okay. Anyway, when that was already confirmed and talked about that I was going to demote myself and go to a different shift, the shift manager at the time was like, well, you need to train this other person to take your position, which I was like, okay, fine. But the statement that he made is the one that bothers me, and the one that I continuously, I can't tell people, but he's like, yeah, you just need to train them to do what you do.
I can't train anyone to do what I do.
I'm sorry. I do what I do because it's who I am. It's my experiences that feed into it. Me and you have talked about this for years.
Yeah.
We are two completely different leadership people.
Yeah,
as a whole. 9 times out of 10 get the same result. However, our leadership styles are two completely different styles because of your experiences versus my experiences, because of what's top priority to you and what's top priority to me.
Well, not just that, but it's different personality types too. If that person that you're training doesn't have the same personality type as you, it's not going to come off the same.
Yep.
If I go onto the line like you do, and I'm trying to convince, or like I'm trying to get people to like turn it into a game and like compete against each other, it's going to come off totally different than it does from you. Mm-hmm. And if anything, I'm a more aggressive person verbally, and people are going to take me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I have to be a different type of leadership when I go out there and I help them and I talk to them, is because like I can't rally with them like you do. I come off like, yeah, people who know me or people who have like been around me in a while, they understand and they know that like I'm just playing around or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I come off really strong and aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know me that well, it comes off like I'm being a bitch to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like it comes off,
or very condescending,
yeah. Or I'm pretending to be nice. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's my job. Like,
but like to that point that I was saying though, but that's why I hate that statement, is because like I can't teach that. We're married. I've known you for 8 years, been married 5. I can't teach you to be a leader like me.
No, I can't teach you to be a leader like me.
So, and everybody wants that. I've been told that 3 times while I've been at this company, which I've been at this company almost as long as I've known you. Together now. That's crazy. Anyway, sorry. That my original hire date just came up when they switched it, and I was like, oh shit. Like with the year I took off, it's almost as long as I've known you. Known Mikey longer than you. But like I've heard that 3 times since I've been at this company, and every time I've said that, I can't teach somebody to be me. I can't do it. I can give you tools, I can give you knowledge. I can give you things that's happened, and you can make your own decision. You can choose to do things the way I do it or not, but I can't make a clone of me. I can't say this person's going to take over now, and it's a seamless transition where it's like I'm there the whole time. Yeah. It doesn't happen.
Like you never left.
Yeah, that won't happen.
No,
especially in leadership.
But you can teach them about the people.
Yeah,
and what the people respond to. Yep. What certain people in your and that's the difference. That's what we should be teaching each other when we're giving off like a team or anything like that. Like when you're teaching new leadership, anytime I was teaching new leadership at any other job, I was teaching them about what works with that team.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to get the job done correctly if you're trying to get this person who does this job really well to do this job instead. It's just not going to happen.
And there's going to be growing pains no matter how much. It doesn't matter if I've said that, especially in leadership, I've said this, it doesn't matter if that person has been around and all the people on your team know that person and know that they're a nice person and whatever. Once you step in, like this person that's taking my spot, once they step into that position, it's not going to be a seamless transition. Even though they like him, yeah. He has about the same like personality vibe as I do, but they're going to push just like they did with me.
Well, and also I like him and everything, mm-hmm. But when he gets upset about something, he comes off very aggressive, whereas you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of take it inwardly and you like.
I just have mental breakdowns in the tower.
Yeah, but you take it into yourself, and you don't take it out on your team. Mm-hmm. Not really, like you might get like frustrated with them or whatever, but you don't like it. Whereas I've seen him like take things out on people, and that's going to be a learning curve for him with that team, just because they haven't had that for a while now. They've had you, so in the and the last people they've had before you were more so like,
we don't care.
We don't know what we're doing anyway, so yeah.
But also, like I told him before I left, it's also something you're gonna have to figure out. I had to figure it out. I
don't mean that as in I'm not going to teach you anything because no one taught me anything.
Yeah,
I mean that as like
it's not a we'll figure it out.
It's not something I can teach you.
It's something you have to figure. I had to figure out. Luckily with all the time I've had in this company, all the positions that I've had, and all the small teams I've had while getting up into this position, is that I've had the time to build who I am in that. And so when I became a team lead, when I became a supervisor, I already knew what kind of leader I wanted to be. I already knew how I was going to do certain things. I already knew how I was going to react to certain things that came up. I already knew those things going into it. And then it's going to sound weird, I just perfected it over time. I just perfected, okay, the last time this happened, I reacted this way. It didn't go very well. The team didn't react to it. So next time this situation kind of happens, I'm going to kind of change that. And over time, I perfected it to the point of when I went to second shift, it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
Which, like I said in the beginning of this, which was kind of the problem, is that it stopped being hard. It was just easy. But in that regard, when I got to second shift, it was an easy transition of like, okay, this is a new team, so I got to do these things. I got to do this thing. We got to see what they can work with. We got to see, who we can put in this space to kind of help these people. And I already had a plan on how to do that, and it did. It worked, and it happened.
Yeah.
And so it's not, but I had to learn that. I had to perfect that. I had to go through things to figure that out with different teams, with different personalities. So that's what I mean. And I kind of told him this when I said that, because I didn't mean it, like you said, I didn't mean it in like a mean way of like, figure it out.
Well, too damn bad.
Bye. But
sucks for you.
But I told him in the same space as what I'm saying. I was like, you have to figure it out for you. You have to figure out what you want, what's most important to you, what's important to have, what part of this line is important for you to run, or seamlessly run, or is it more important to have somebody that works their ass off in case pack but doesn't bitch, or have somebody that's going to be vocal and tell you what needs to get fixed? And you got to figure out in every area, you have to figure out what parts are more important to you. If you just want to sit in the office with nobody coming in and bitching for you, then you can put certain people in those positions
to make sure that happens.
Where you never have to leave the office. Nobody's ever going to bitch to you, but you're also going to have shitty numbers because there's no
one out there encouraging them to keep going. There's no one out there pushing them.
Whereas likewise, on the other end of that, if you want to be the person that helps your people and fixes things and gets things more efficient and like gets them things, you would want people in those positions that are going to tell you what's wrong with your machine or what's wrong with your line or where they think the line could improve or the people can improve or whatever. And you could put those people in those positions, vice versa. And then you're going to be able to make things more efficient, which is what I do. I specifically have people that even if they're not in key positions, they know and have the understanding that they can say, hey, it'd be cool if this was fixed. It'd be cool if we could get this tool, or it'd be cool if
it's also
we could do this.
Knowing your people's roles and knowing what they do, because then you know what you can do to help them make things go faster. Like, it's just like, when I was a team lead, like, I knew that if I kept case pack stocked with everything they need, as far as like the label rolls or the sheets they need or anything like that, then I wouldn't have to worry about them coming in and out of the office about, I need this, I don't know where it's at, or coming to me throughout the day and being like, I need this, I don't know where it's at. And I don't have to worry about them leaving the line to go wander around the warehouse for an hour, going looking for it when I know exactly where it is and I can bring it to them like that. No problem.
It's the same with prepping rolls.
And it's like, I'm not doing anything anyways other than checking numbers every hour when I walk by. So why can't, when I walk through to check those numbers that hour, why can't I have
bring that stuff
this stuff with me to restock the area for them? Or why can't I let my relief know that this stuff needs to get done and be like, hey, when you're done giving out breaks here, if you're not too busy, can you go restock case back? And then like things with operators, like if I know that, my stuffing room operators are trying to get things ready for a wash and run the line, I could do their check for them that hour. Or I could help get things ready for the wash while they do their check that hour. And be like, oh, you got your check done? Okay, you're good? Okay. Or did you guys get your break yet before the wash? And they're like, no, okay, well, I'll watch the room for you while you guys go get your break before the wash. Like, as a team lead, that's what you should be doing. That's your whole job, is to keep everything going and keep everything running. So, like, why wouldn't I make sure that why wouldn't I go in there and give them their break so they can get their break before the wash? So they're not, like, complaining during the wash about how they missed their first break and now it's second break time and they're still trying to...
Or stopping.
Or stop working because they want to go get their break.
Being like, well, I didn't get my break, so your wash is going to take an extra hour now because...
Yeah. Because now I have 2 breaks that I've missed and the machines aren't put back together yet, so sucks for you. It's like, why can't I... It takes 15 minutes.
But
15 fucking minutes out of my time, and even if they take a long break, even if they took like a half an hour, which they're not allowed, but even if they did, a half an hour of my time for them to go take a break, and it's going to cut down my wash time, and I still have another half hour to do my job, which takes 5 minutes tops anyways.
Well, one thing, and going back to leadership styles, but one thing that you do very well, that I feel like I do very well, and I've seen you do it, is that the both of us at points when we've been in leadership push people to be better.
Yeah.
In different ways.
Yeah.
But I've seen you do it to people where it's not in a, I don't know how to explain it. It's not in a mom way. It's not in like a, I know you can be better. but it's in a way of like, it's in a way of them wanting to be better.
Yeah.
Like my perfect example is my stuffing room operator that I just had.
Yeah.
Everybody said he was shit.
Yeah.
Which was all personal bias, but that's a whole different story. But when I first got there, granted, I had kind of known him before that, and I didn't like him for what it's worth before that either.
Yeah.
But he learned over time that I knew what I was talking about. I'm there to help him. So I had proved it in a very short, and so he started. I do for you, you do for me.
Yeah.
He started doing for me. He would watch his shit. He would watch his giveaway, watch his weights, so that our numbers looked better. Instead of taking 30 minutes to change something out like he normally would because he didn't care, he would try to do it in under because he understood the game.
Yeah.
But then in that same respect, because he was doing that, I gave him the same respect of kind of like teaching him things.
Faster ways to do things.
Teaching him more things.
You can do this easier if you do it this way.
Not just about his job.
Yeah.
But in general.
Yeah.
And it was, again, different leadership styles. But like every day, not in a condescending way, not in a mean way, but every day I would go back there and he knew the drill. And I showed the person that took my spot, and he was blown away that it even happened because it got to a point where it was unconscious.
It was just happening.
I would go back there and he would say, your collagen's here, your weights are here, this is how much we have left, this is when we should go down, this is the things that are wrong. I wouldn't even have to ask. I would go back there, I would sign off, and it would, every day, automatic.
And how hard is it to give them a thank you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's kind of what, and that's
the crazy part about some leadership is you could do that for them.
Saying, that's where that came from.
And instead of them being like, thank you, they're like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, take care of it. Like, okay.
But like in that, but that's where that came from, is that I didn't push him in a way of like, you need to know these things.
Yeah.
I pushed him in a way that over time he realized that these are the things that if we don't start our shift off fixing, create
if we don't have these things in the right numbers
issues
right away.
And also he knew I
we're
knew
gonna have a mess
enough.
later.
He knew I knew enough where I knew where the flux was with just hearing the numbers.
Yeah,
which
you
I
hear
did.
that number and you're like, okay, that one's gotta change, or like, oh, okay, that one's good.
But it pushed him to be better at his job, and he does that now. He does it. It's not just to tell me the numbers. He understands it. He gets it.
Also knows what those numbers mean and what they're doing.
And how to adjust it and what we do for certain products and whatever.
Yeah.
But in the same regard for you and your leadership style, I've seen you do that to people too.
Yeah.
To where it's not a you need to be better. That just you leading them and the things that you do as a leader have pushed people to be better at their job.
Yeah. I encourage.
Yeah.
But I do physically tell them though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't keep anything from as a leadership in any job I've ever been in as leadership. I don't play the mind games with these fucking people. I don't try to manipulate them into being better. I straight up tell people. I have straight up told people, if you can help me with this stuff, I can help you with this stuff.
Yep.
I can make your job easier if you make my job easier. If you're making sure this is happening, I'll make sure this is happening for you.
And I've said that to you.
And if I ever can't do it, I'll let you know, like, hey, right now this is going on. I can't do this.
I've said that to you, and that's a big. And we can talk all day in circles about this. I'm sorry.
We weren't supposed to go. This wasn't supposed to be about work.
Because I had a completely separate thing that I wanted to talk to you about.
I just got excited that I could ask you what's happening in your life for once.
That you could be the askee.
Yeah.
But perfect example though, and I told you this. It's give and take with your people, and I could, again, me and you, and especially me, I could talk all day about being a better leader, because I feel like most people.
We're not saying we're the greatest, because we're not. There's things that I fault at, like, really bad as a leader.
Yeah.
I'm just good at covering it up, and that's why people think that I'm a great leader. Like, no, I'm just really good at covering up the parts that I'm really shitty at.
Cheryl hates me being a leader.
I just hate some of the things you do. Like,
but again, like I've told people, it's a give and take with your people. Your people and every upper that I've ever met makes this statement, but I don't think they really believe. I think it's just a buzz statement that they know makes certain people feel good. I don't think most uppers actually believe this, but most upper in the company that don't have to be on the line every day make this statement of, you guys run this company, not us. And I don't think they really believe that. I think they just say it to make people feel good. But
they say it because they were taught to say it in a class that they took on.
But for people, and again, I really appreciate about myself that I've never lost this part of me, is remembering being in that position, but
being in the trenches, yeah.
But it's true. If you do for them, they do for you. That's all I ever wanted. Me and you talked about that when we first got together. All me and you ever wanted for the longest time in this company was just somebody to help, even for a short amount of time. Just somebody.
And like I've told people over and over and over, I don't know how many times I've told this to people in leadership roles. You are not there to be their friend.
Mm-hmm.
They have to respect you, not like you. They can like you and respect you, but you don't want them
and you have to
just like you. You want them to respect you.
And you have to find that balance. And I think that I'll go back to what I was just about to say.
And that's where the I'll help you if you help me comes in, because if you're just trying to be everyone's friend, friends take advantage of friends, period, especially in workplace situations. You're their friend, so why would they have to do that? You're their friend, so why do they have to work harder? They're going to get away with it because you're their friend. No, you don't want to be friends with any of these people. You want to have respect with these people. And you can make friendships after they have respect for you. But they have to have respect for you first.
And that's what I was going to, again, I'll go back to what I was getting at, but that's what I was going to say about that is that most people, and I've seen it both ways, and I feel like I have a pretty solid balance between the two. But what I've seen is you either get one or the other.
Yeah.
You either get the leadership that's an asshole all the time, that's always barking orders, it's always telling you
they're not going to get any respect from their people.
Or you get the person that just lets everybody do whatever.
And they have no respect from their people.
And it's just like whatever. And I've rarely, there's a couple, but I've rarely seen anybody that has that balance. And I feel like I do, in the way of I always have that mindset of I do for you, you do for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to stand out there and do your job for you.
Oh no.
I'm not going to sit
That's not my job.
I'm not going to sit out there for 8 hours all through the week while I have other shit to do doing your job for you because I like you. I'm not going to do that. But like I did for both my operators now, but if you're by yourself for a month and a half because your partner is on vacation and you want a week and a half off because you've been by yourself for a month, yeah, the day they come back, you're on fucking vacation. No questions asked. And I did it. And I did it to my stuffing room operator too. Continuously been by himself, helping other people. He was really upset that he didn't get his operator too because they gave him. Yeah. He was really upset about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gone next week. Take this week. Just take it. I was like, you've been here every day? Because that was his thing, is that they said no because of his points. Because he gets points back in July. He's like, I've been here every single day. Like, you've seen me.
Yeah, you told me about that, yeah.
Yeah. And so I told him, I was like, fucking take it. I was like, they're already not going to give it to you, so it doesn't matter. And I was like, and you've earned it. And it's that type of,
well, and vacation doesn't count against you with points, so.
It's like, I know, but it's that type of thing. It's not, I need you here. It's not, well, no, you can't take vacation because what are we going to do? It's not, and again, going back to me.
No, because they're still humans.
Well, going back to me, I have the luxury of doing that too because I can
take care of the area if I let the person go.
Yeah, and I have, and people have said that multiple times, but I have the luxury of doing that because I am able to do that. And that was the reason why I wanted to learn all those areas in the first place when I got into leadership, is so I could do that.
Yeah.
But
you know why I had to learn stuff.
But it's that give and take as a leader. It's that you and I got a lot of shit for my Rat Pack operator for letting him leave for so long after the other one came back.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of shit for that. Because I told him straight out before she even came back, I was like, just so you know, my other operator is going to be off for a week and a half. And they were like, oh, why? What happened? I'm like, because I'm giving him off. And they were like, what? And I was like, no, he's been by himself for a month and a half. But yeah, I'm going to give him time off. And they gave me so much shit about it. They were like, well, I don't know if we can do that much, or we can do a couple days or whatever. And I straight out
I can do it.
Well, I straight out told. And it's that kind of leeway and power that I like. That's the part, and that's what I said before. That's the change that I like in supervisor, and that was the part of being a supervisor that I kind of embodied because I realized I wasn't able to do these things, but these things I had control of, and so I was able to do that. I basically told my supervisor to fuck off because he was like, "I don't think we can." I'm like, "I'm doing it. It's already approved.
I can." So
it's already done.
You guys can figure out your own shit, but my line will be fine.
But he even said that afterward. He's like, I didn't think that was going to happen. And I was like, yep. And I didn't say that to him, but thinking because of how many times I've tried to do that in positions that I've been in, I was like, yep, probably wouldn't have with anyone else. Yeah. Because I've tried to do that. I tried to do that when I was by myself for an entire year and a half with no help. And I was told no, because I was too valuable. Mm-hmm. You were told that. Mm-hmm. But
I was told I couldn't even train for other positions because I was too valuable in the position I was in, which is such bullshit. Such a bullshit statement.
Yeah.
If I'm that valuable, why wouldn't you want me in leadership then? Why wouldn't you want me to grow?
Yep.
Just an excuse.
Also, why are you not valuing that in the moment? That's my biggest thing. I have so many.
Well, that was the same year. The same year that I got told that I was too valuable for that position was the same year that I got the worst review I've ever had in that company. How? How does that work like that? How do I get the worst review that I've ever had in this company. Not only the worst review I've ever had in this company, but the third worst review of the whole year in the company. And yet, I'm too valued.
Yeah.
To
leave.
Yeah. To get.
Well, me and you talked
to grow in that company.
Me and you talked about that right after that. You're like, I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But I've said this, and I've told you this. This is why I have undying loyalty to my supervisor.
Yeah.
Is the supervisor I have now.
Yeah.
Is because I can guarantee you even now that when I switch to third shift, I can guarantee you nobody the entire time I've been on second shift has said anything about me or the team or how great or how that team specifically was told that they would never have good numbers, and we had good numbers for 3 months straight.
Yeah.
Right after I got there. Nobody said anything about it the entire time I've been on second shift. Mm-hmm. Not a upper, not a good job, not a we've seen. We went from, I told Mikey this before I left because I was doing the numbers when I was closing the batches. I told Mikey this. We went from losing $4,000 every single week. QX2, I know this for a fact. QX2 went from losing $4,000 and more every week to making $22,000 every single week since I've been on second shift. On top of all the other shit just for my shift. And nothing's been said about it, which whatever. Like, yes, I would like it. It would be nice. But like it's whatever. But I guarantee you if this fails after I leave.
Oh yeah, something's gonna be said.
It's gonna be, you did really great. We really wish that you were back here.
Or it's gonna be, you didn't train this guy. You didn't show this guy.
But my supervisor I have now, granted, we've had issues over the years, but has always stood by that. Has always used that.
I don't like that you do these things, but you get good numbers.
But you're really good at what you do.
Yeah.
And has always been in those moments. Too, of like when we do really good, being like, you should really feel good about this. Like you and your team did really well.
There are things you need to improve on, but you did a great job.
Yeah. And it's not after the fact. It's in the moment. It's in those moments. I have a picture that shows up I stopped posting it, but I see it every year. There's a picture that I posted when I first started training to be an operator, where she gave me a shirt.
Oh yeah.
When the first or second week I trained to be an operator, I had never operated before ever at that company, other than helping Cheryl like change roles, which isn't really a whole lot. But
it's like a glorified relief.
Yeah, it was like the first or second week, and their main operator I don't get it. He has fucking
works circles around anybody.
He has fucking spirit guides with that line. I don't
spirit guides. They whisper in his ear what's wrong with it.
Fucking understand how he does it. It's fucking
the
nuts.
Machines talk to him.
Even to this day. I don't get it. But he was the machine whisperer at the time.
Yeah.
And my first week or two, he had vacation for the whole week. So I'm a brand new operator. We didn't have anybody to help me other than a still brand new operator to just give me breaks.
Yeah.
And it stressed me out a lot. And it was her line because she was the supervisor at the time. And it stressed me out a lot. I was learning on the spot. I was trying to fix all these things. I was trying to keep everything running while trying to take like breaks in between there or whatever. And because of how my brain works, when I know that I don't know enough about something, I don't trust to leave it alone.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't taking long breaks. I was taking very short. I was literally smoking a cigarette, maybe drinking some water and like getting back in there. So I wasn't really taking breaks either. And I had yelled and screamed at her a few times during that time, which is kind of funny that I brought it up to her now and she totally doesn't even remember. She doesn't even remember that whole era. Which is kind of funny to me because I do. I remember screaming at her because she asked if I needed help while both machines were down and I was by myself. And I was like, you fucking think? And then she gave me a break, even though she didn't know how to do Rat Pack. And is definitely afraid of Rat Pack, which is I found out later, which made that whole like
But that's the difference between good leadership and shit
That
leadership.
whole moment, I was like,
she saw you. She sucks at Rapid Pack and has no clue
she's
what
afraid
she's
of
doing.
it. It's a fear.
But she saw how stressed out you were about it. And that not only was she helping you in that moment, but she was also encouraging you in a way.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
But after that happened, because my personality hasn't changed. Sort of. My personality since I came back hasn't changed. My personality before, when I worked there, before I got fired, that's different. That's different. As a whole different person. In different ways. But my personality hasn't changed since I came back. So I've always been like goofy and like joking and whatever. And after that week, when the operator came back, she got me a shirt that said like the company's name on it or whatever. But she gave me a card, and that was the part that was why I took the picture.
Yeah.
Because that's why I have the picture. Why it meant so much to me. Because one, I had been at that company for 4 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Right? 4 years, including being a temp, something like that, close to it. And then got no acknowledgement. No, like, good job. No like, t-shirt. No nothing.
Yeah. Not even the fucking gold coins.
Yeah. No, I'd gotten nothing for 4 years.
Yeah.
And she didn't make a big deal about it. She wasn't like, oh, I got you this thing or whatever. She literally just left it on the table up front. She was like, hey, I got you something that's up front. And there was a t-shirt and there was a card. And all the card said was, thanks for making work fun. I really appreciate you. Thank you. And then her initials or whatever. But it meant so much to me in that moment. And she's continuously done that. That's why I tell people all the time, you can try to convince me otherwise. I will have undying loyalty to her forever. But it was something that had never been done. And it was sincere. It wasn't like a makeshift card of like everybody gets, of like when we get the Walmart, thank you for working here. Like everybody gets the same shit. It was personal. It was in that time where she knew, and she was really genuinely being appreciative.
Yeah.
And it hasn't, I don't know, I haven't really gotten much. I've gotten a few things, but I haven't really gotten much since then either.
Well, and nothing that really meant like that did.
Mm-hmm.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. We spent the whole time talking about work.
You sure did.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I helped.
I think
I helped fuck it up.
Yeah, it's not really, well, it's not like normal when we talk about work and you're like, it's something that's actually important. I think people should actually like pay attention to how they are leaders. But I actually had stuff I wanted to talk to you about, but we can't now.
Too bad, so sad. Haha.
Pretty sure we're over an hour.
Fucked it up.
So don't ask. You're not allowed to ask me next time.
Yeah, I don't get to ask you nothing, clearly.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Do we need to beans and cornbread it?
Sorry. Yeah, an hour and a half.
No. Beans and cornbread. Beans and cornbread. Beans and cornbread. Beans and cornbread.
Anyway, thanks for talking.
When there is a fire, what is the first thing we do? Check the door handles. Are they hot?
Nope, that one's closed too. Where are the other ones?
What is the next step?
Cheryl is an office person now.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
We can talk about that next time. Anyway, yeah. Beans and cornbread it with your boobs.
Beans and cornbread, beep beep.